Corporal punishment, the right to and not to. I chose to create a presentation on corporal punishment. It is a topic that is very interesting to me. I am a teacher in Kansas, and it is technically still legal to use corporal punishment in the state. However, it's a highly sensitive topic and form of punishment. I also grew up in Texas, and Texas is one of the 19 states still using and allowing corporal punishment within the state. I only graduated about 10 years ago from high school, and while in high school, corporal punishment was allowed to be used as long as there was parent consent through the signature of a piece of paper. Corporal punishment is defined as involving the use of physical contact for disciplinary purposes. Corporal punishment in today's world of education, it is not uncommon within the United States school systems. 19 states currently allow corporal punishment to be used as a means of discipline. What's wrong and right about it? Corporal punishment is a highly controversial issue in the United States right now and has been for some time. Those who support it claim that it facilitates changes in student behavior, teaches students self-discipline, and teaches students to have respect for authority. Those who oppose corporal punishment claim that it is a legalized form of child abuse. It conveys to the students that physical violence is an acceptable form when resolving problems. Despite the views of those supporting or opposing corporal punishment, courts still view it as an acceptable form of discipline when administered in a reasonable manner. School personnel is facing quite a bit of charges when using corporal punishment, and I should say they can face charges of assault and battery, prosecution, and even termination of employment for abusive acts against students. I have listed about 6 guides to help educate you on corporal punishment and what is allowed and not allowed. The first guide is that corporal punishment should not be used except for acts of misconduct that are so antisocial and disruptive in a nature as to shock the conscience. This is actually a very interesting statement and guide to corporal punishment. Recently, within this school year, my particular school started implementing a social-emotional curriculum. Unfortunately, a lot of the times that social-emotional curriculum and teachings are not taught in the home anymore, and so we are now having to hone in on them and teach them at school. So I thought that was a very interesting statement about corporal punishment, and I could definitely see how my district and my school are moving away from this form of punishment and teaching those social skills to help diffuse behaviors that would need a consequence or punishment. Guide 2 states that school personnel should not expect the courts to support malicious or excessive physical punishment of students. Guide 3 states that reasonable administration of corporal punishment should be based on such factors as the gravity of the offense, the age, size, and gender of the student, and the physical ability of the child to bear punishment. Guide 4 states if a student professes the lack of knowledge or innocence of the rule violation, a brief and adequate opportunity should be provided to explain the rule and allow the student to speak on his or her behalf before any sort of punishment, and especially corporal punishment, is assigned. Guide 5 states that whenever possible, students should be provided punishment options for deviant behavior. Corporal punishment should never be administered when the child is physically resisting. This just makes me think of a story. My parents, growing up, my brother and I, we both went to the same high school, and I was not a behavior problem at all. It's probably why I became a teacher. However, my brother was a little defiant at times and would at times be sent to the principal's office. My parents had always said to both of us, if you are going to get in trouble at school, then you may be punished at school. And as I stated earlier in the presentation, corporal punishment is still allowed in the state of Texas. However, your parents or legal guardian must sign off on a form stating that it's okay for the school administrator to administer the punishment. And I remember my brother would, on days that he knew he was going to get his so-called swats, he would wear an extra layer of clothes, and he would even try resisting the behavior at times. He would kind of move about in a way or two, and then the administrator would either just rule out corporal punishment for the day or ask him to restrain himself. Guide 6 states that attempts should be made to comply with the parent's request that corporal punishment not be administered to the child, with the understanding that the parent assumes responsibility for the child's behavior during the school day. That's another interesting statement and guide for corporal punishment and punishment in general. I have realized that in my own professional career and teaching that a lot of parents don't take responsibility for their child's behavior, and a lot of them do, and I would say are very supportive. It's interesting to see the child and the behaviors attached to the parents who don't necessarily support or assume the responsibility of their child's behavior. My resources that I used today for this presentation was A Teacher's Pocket Guide to School Law, by Nathan L. Essex.